At my niece's birthday, my brother laughed and called me a loser, forgetting I was paying for everything. I left without paying, and my phone blew up with 27 missed calls. I stood outside my parents' place, juggling a wrapped dollhouse in one hand and a gift bag in the other. The porch was decked out in cheerful pink balloons, with a sparkly happy birthday, Princess Lily sign. Kids' laughter bubbled up from the back. I took a deep breath and hit the doorbell. My mom opened the door, wearing her usual pastel cardigan, and I could smell vanilla cake wafting out. But when she saw me, her smile vanished. "We don't want you here today," she said. I blinked in confusion. Then I heard it, the smug, sharp voice of my brother Jacob from behind her. "This is no place for losers," he said, stepping up next to her, arms crossed and a grin slowly spreading across his face. His words hit me like a slap. Before I could say anything, he scoffed, "Man, showing up like this?" "Cringe," he chuckled and shook his head. "Lily doesn't even care if you're here. Why don't you do us all a favor and leave before you embarrass yourself?" The familiar wave of discomfort washed over me, the same one I felt at every family gathering, every dinner, every holiday. The way they always looked at me, my unkempt hair, wrinkled hoodie, the dark circles from endless coding nights. I gripped the gift bag tighter, swallowing the lump in my throat. Barely contribute, cringe. Lily doesn't care. A memory slammed into me. Just 6 months ago, Jacob had shown up at my apartment, looking desperate. "Man, I just need a little help with Lily's school," he'd said, fake humility oozing from his voice. "It's just temporary, you know I'd do the same for you." I had sent the money that night without a second thought. And now, I was a loser. I glanced at my dad standing behind them, avoiding my gaze. My mom shifted uncomfortably but stayed silent. It felt like a rehearsed moment, like they all agreed I didn't belong there anymore. I could already hear my mom's excuse if I called her out on it. "It's not about the money, sweetheart. It's just the way you present yourself." Right, because in their world, success wasn't about intelligence or skill. It was about designer suits, flashy cars, and golf memberships, not sleepless nights debugging code or patents or six-figure contracts from Silicon Valley that never required me to leave my apartment. To them, I was still the awkward, messy kid who never fit in. Something twisted in my chest, pain, anger, disbelief. I felt the words rise in my throat, the protests, the outrage, the demand for an explanation. But then, just as quickly as the fire flared, it died. I exhaled slowly. "Fine," I said, stepping back from the door. "If that's how you feel." I turned and walked back to my car, placing the presents on the passenger seat. But just as I was about to close the door, I glanced back at the house, specifically the backyard. Through the window, I saw Lily running around in her birthday dress, laughing with the other kids, completely unaware of the drama at the front door. For a moment, I almost reconsidered. Then Jacob's words echoed in my mind again, that smirk, that laugh. "This is no place for losers." I clenched my jaw, slid into the driver's seat, and gripped the steering wheel as a cold realization settled over me. For years, I had convinced myself that I was part of this family, that I mattered. But I wasn't a brother, I wasn't a son. I was a walking ATM. No place for losers, huh? Alright, let's see how they do without this loser funding their lives. I didn't turn my phone on for 2 days. I needed silence, no guilt-tripping texts from my mom, no half-hearted "let's move past this" from my dad, definitely no smug taunts from Jacob. I wanted them to sit with their decision, feel what it was like without me picking up the pieces. But on the third day, curiosity got to me. I powered on my phone, 27 missed calls, 15 voicemails, 32 texts. I smiled. There it is. I scrolled through the messages, reading the highlights. "Mom, I don't know why you're acting like this. Jacob didn't mean it. Call me. Dad, let's be reasonable. You know how family works. Jacob, are you serious right now? Grow up. Mom again, Lily's been asking about you." I rolled my eyes. Oh, now she remembers I exist. The last message caught my attention, from Kelly, Jacob's wife. "I'm sorry. I didn't agree with what happened. Please call me when you can." That one made me pause. Kelly had always been quiet, always went along with whatever Jacob did. But something about her message felt different, urgent. I wasn't in the mood to call anyone, but I typed out a reply. "Me, why are you apologizing?" "So, here's the deal," Kelly hit me up with a message right away, saying Jacob was going off the deep end because I wasn't bailing him out financially like usual. I was curious, so I asked, "What's the drama this time?" She hesitated before spilling the beans. Apparently, Jacob blew too much cash on Lily's birthday and was banking on me to cover the cost. When I didn't, he lost his cool. I couldn't help but laugh. It's classic Jacob. I'd always been his fallback plan, but not this time. I'd finally cut him loose. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the takeout container on my desk. I was supposed to be debugging some Python code, something that actually paid my bills, but instead, I got sucked back into family drama. A sensible person would have let this slide, let Jacob face his own mess, but I had to see it unfold. I drove by my parents' place, not going in, just watching. The party decorations were gone, the balloons deflated, and that Happy Birthday Princess Lily banner was barely hanging on. Jacob's car was in the driveway, but his usual smugness wasn't. I heard him hollering something like, "He's doing this just to humiliate me." And I almost laughed out loud. Dude, you're managing that all by yourself. I saw Kelly through the window, looking totally drained. My phone buzzed again halfway home. It was Kelly. "Jacob's out of control," she told me. Apparently, he had been yelling at my parents, blaming them for not getting me to fix his screw-up, and now he had to sell his car to pay off the party debt. I laughed at the irony. This was the same brother who mocked my sensible car, claiming real men drive luxury. Now he had to sell his fancy ride because he miscalculated how much he could milk from me. I joked with Kelly about recording the whole mess. She didn't, but I still loved hearing about it. Then Kelly asked why I'd put up with him for so long. That hit me hard. I flashed back to when I was 13, coding on our old computer, and Jacob, 16 then, totally dismissed me, calling me a nerd. That was when I figured out my family wouldn't appreciate my brains. Back in the present, I admitted to Kelly that I thought if I kept giving, they'd finally see my value, not just see me as an ATM. She got it, and for the first time, someone actually understood. That night, I slept great. By morning, Jacob had listed his car for sale. My mom left me a bunch of voicemails, playing the usual guilt card, but I deleted them. By the end of the month, not only was the car gone, but Kelly and Lily had left Jacob too. Without me to lean on, he turned his mess on her. So, turns out she was way stronger than anyone thought. Lily decided she'd had enough, filed for divorce, and moved in with her sister. The last message I got from her just said, "Kelly, thank you." And Jacob? Well, Mom and Dad took him back. But his credit was shot, and he had to give up his fancy lifestyle, so he wasn't exactly the golden boy anymore. All that talk about there being no place for losers, huh? One night, I was in my apartment, sipping on some whiskey, and came across Jacob's new GoFundMe page. The guy was just trying to get by, asking for help. I couldn't help but chuckle when I saw it and turned my phone off. So much for no place for losers. He sure found his spot. Watching Jacob fall from grace was kinda sweet. But the best part? He didn't even realize it. After selling his car, moving back home, and seeing his wife and kid leave, he still played the victim. He thought everyone, mainly me, was out to get him. I knew he was pissed when I got a text from some unknown number saying, "Jacob, hope you're happy. You ruined everything." I just laughed, blocked him, and a bit later, my doorbell went off. I knew it was him, so I let him stew outside for a bit. Then came the banging. I rolled my eyes. "Relax, I'm coming." When I opened the door, there he was, looking a mess. "You think this is funny?" he snapped. I crossed my arms and said, "It's hilarious." He was not amused. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" Oh, more than he knew. He blamed me for Lily crying when she left with Kelly. I just scoffed at that. She cried because her dad's an idiot who wrecked his own life. Not my problem. And then I felt something I hadn't in a long time: freedom. Jacob got mad, calling me selfish. I just sighed. "You're still here?" Angry as he was, Jacob wasn't gonna fight. He was all talk, never action. He pointed at me like a bad movie villain and stormed off, cursing under his breath. What a joke. For the first time in forever, peace, no more messages, no more surprise visits. Just quiet. Then one evening, my phone buzzed. "Kelly, you should see this." It was Jacob's latest Facebook drama, full of half-truths and sob stories about how real men don't abandon family. I almost choked on my drink. He called himself strong. The guy who lived off me for years, who threw fits over money. Yeah, right. I didn't clap back on Facebook. I had a better idea. I texted him instead. "Strong men don't beg for rent money or whine about selling their car. Strong men don't let their wife and kid walk because they're too busy feeling sorry for themselves." I waited, saw the typing dots appear and disappear. For once, Jacob was speechless. Finally, I was free from his nonsense. But then, a month later, my phone rang. It was Mom. Sweetheart, we need to talk, she said, her voice all sweet but also kind of pushy. I rubbed my temples and said, let me guess, Jacob's in a tough spot, and you want me to fix things? There was a pause. It's not about fixing, honey. It's about forgiveness, I laughed. That's what we're calling it now? She snapped back, don't be cruel. She paused before saying, we're having a family dinner. So, over the weekend, my dad and mom thought it was about time that Jacob and I sat down like adults and sorted things out. I glanced at my calendar, Saturday, 7 p.m. Oh, how thoughtful of them to schedule my upcoming humiliation. I leaned back in my chair, smirking to myself. Let me get this straight, they want me to have a heart-to-heart with the same brother who called me a loser and booted me out of Lily's birthday bash? The same guy who's been trash-talking me online, and let me guess, now wants another favor? It's not like that, she insisted, but I could hear the hesitation in her voice. Ah, there it is, I thought, yep, he needs something. Mom let out a heavy sigh, Jacob just needs a little help to get back on his feet. I couldn't help but laugh. Seriously, what's the deal this time? Another car, an apartment? Let me guess, he finally spent all his GoFundMe cash? You don't have to be so mean, she snapped. I grinned, oh but I do. Fine, she grumbled. If you must know, Jacob's having a tough time finding work. He's really in a bad spot. I shook my head. Well, he did it to himself. He's your brother, she said, and then there was silence. I let it linger, letting the weight of my indifference sink in before I twisted the knife. You didn't care about me when he shut me out, I said coldly. You stood by and let him humiliate me. You didn't say a single word. That's not fair, she began, but I cut her off. And now that he's in trouble, we're suddenly family again? Another pause, and finally, she sighed, so you're not coming? No, Mom, I'm not coming, I replied. And for the first time in my life, I hung up on her first. I figured that was it, my parents would sulk, Jacob would stew in his own mess, and I'd get back to enjoying my peace. But Jacob, well, he's always been predictable. So that Saturday at precisely 7:42 p.m., my doorbell rang. Bang, bang, bang. I sighed, I knew exactly who it was and exactly how this would go. Jacob was about to plead, and I was going to savor every second. I peeked through the peephole. Oh, this was going to be entertaining. I took my sweet time opening the door, let him stew a bit. Finally, when I swung it open, there was Jacob, hands stuffed in his pockets, looking frazzled, already cooking up some half-baked excuse. I smirked, no dinner at Mom's? He clenched his jaw, let me in. I leaned against the door frame and asked, why? His nostrils flared, because we need to talk. I pretended to think about it, yeah, no. I started to close the door, but he wedged his foot in. Big mistake. All right, I said, stepping onto the porch, say your piece and then leave. Jacob took a deep breath. Look, man, I know we've had our differences, I laughed, oh, is that what we're calling it? He shot me a look but pushed on, I just need a little help, all right? There it was. I crossed my arms, let me guess, money? That GoFundMe didn't last, huh? Or did Mom and Dad finally cut you off? Enough. He burst out, his face turning red. I grinned, am I wrong? He drew a sharp breath, ran a hand down his face, and in a desperate whisper said, I just need a loan, okay? I raised an eyebrow, oh, so now I'm good enough to help? Jacob swallowed hard, I messed up, all right? I get it, I went too far. I looked at him, and for a second, almost believed him. But then I saw it, the same entitled gleam, the same assumption that I'd cave. And I smiled. Oh buddy, I said, stepping closer, I don't lend money. His face fell, I leaned in, I give money. But only to people who deserve it. Hope vanished from his face. I patted his shoulder, hard enough to make him stumble, you'll figure it out, champ. Then I turned and shut the door on him. That was the last time Jacob ever came to me for help. A week later, I heard through Kelly that he finally got a job, not a great one, but a job. A paycheck that wasn't from me. And for once, I didn't feel anger or spite. I felt free. Because for once, Jacob had to stand on his own 2 feet, and for the first time, I didn't feel any regret about letting him fall. 6 months have passed since I shut the door in Jacob's face, since I stopped entertaining my mom's guilt-tripping calls, and decided not to be responsible for fixing his life. And let me tell you, those 6 months have been absolutely peaceful, no more emergency requests for money, no drama. Sure, here's a more casual version of the text with added detail. So, I finally said no to being treated like my family's personal ATM, and I gotta say, it felt pretty freeing. But as days passed, I started having second thoughts. I mean, I definitely didn't regret cutting them off financially, it was way past time for that. But I'd been totally ignoring their messages, Mom trying to guilt me, Dad with his low-key attempts to reason, and Jacob's angry rants. It was all so predictable. Still, something was bugging me, maybe I was too harsh, especially with just walking away from Lily. She's just a kid, and none of this is her fault. She's stuck in all this because of her dad's actions. I always made sure she was taken care of, and now I felt guilty leaving her behind. So, I went on Reddit and decided to put it all out there. Should I feel bad for cutting off my brother and parents even if it means Lily might have it rough? I laid out everything, the endless financial support, the insults, their sense of entitlement, even how I'd ban them from Christmas. But I was honest about my doubts too, like, was I punishing the wrong person here? Could I set boundaries without vanishing completely? I hit post and waited. Soon enough, replies started rolling in. Most folks were like, "You're not in the wrong. Your brother's got to deal with his own choices, and your niece has other family." One message really hit me, though. Instead of funding Jacob's lifestyle, why not set up a savings account for Lily or buy her gifts directly? That way, I wouldn't have to deal with my brother's nonsense but could still help Lily out. I read that comment over and over, and it clicked. I didn't have to throw myself into chaos to ensure Lily was okay. For the first time in ages, I felt clear-headed. Ignoring a bunch of texts from Jacob and my parents, I sent a message to Kelly, "Hey, I want to help Lily, but no more money for Jacob. Let's figure it out." And just like that, things felt a bit more settled. What would you do in my shoes? Would you find a way to support Lily without falling into Jacob's traps, or just walk away and let them deal with their issues? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you.